Air strike 3. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. The Candyman can.
Tom Candiotti now joins us now on ESPN 620. You know, Tom, you've been with us for a long time, and we've been now on our 15th station, I think. And every time we've gone to a new station, now we're at the same home you are for Diamondback games and 98.7 and ESPN 620. But we still have the best open in sports. Wouldn't you agree? The best open.
You know, I know it's baseball season once I hear that.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Brings back chills.
Oh, it's great. It's great. Well, hey, you know, I want to throw this at you. Can you make an argument that last year's Diamondbacks version of the Diamondbacks was in some sense better than the 2023? And even that 2023 was a pretty, you know, the fact that they went to the World Series. But on paper, and you look at runs scored and some of the other things, that team was really good last year. They really had some really good. They put up some serious numbers.
The offense was really tremendous. I mean, it was runs every single game, and it just wasn't like the big blowout games. I mean, they were consistently scoring. You know, and this is really without Corbin Carroll having, you know, the type of year that we kind of expected. You know, but Marte was fantastic. I mean, all the way down. I mean, McCarthy really had a nice comeback season, you know, getting on base and stealing bases. You know, it was really fun to watch. But what happened last year is, you know, for whatever reason, you didn't have your 1A and B starters there, and Gallen and Kelly, you know, really pitching up to their potential. We saw glimpses of it and for a little short, you know, spurts of time, but like not overall, you know, like they had pitched the year before. And I think, you know, that put a lot of stress on the bullpen. The bullpen wasn't real good. They were trying to figure that one out. It seemed like it was all year, you know, and it was nice getting A.J. Puck, who really came in. You're starting to see maybe the emergence of Justin Martinez. You know, that he had his moments too, but you could still see that he's still a little bit raw as you know, he tumbled a few times. But overall, I think going into this season now, I think the young guys that we were talking about from, you know, 2 years ago, last year, I think, you know, with a couple seasons under their belt, I think you're going to see more consistent players. I think they know what they need to do in order to succeed out there. I think Torrey and the pitching the coaching staff has a lot more feel for what, you know, they can ask them to do and things. So I'm pretty excited about it. You know, I was just listening to the start of the game and just, you know, listening to Corbin Burns strike out the side. And that was a nice one to also start the Cactus League off on.
Heck yeah. Okay, we'll get into pitching, but let's stay on that offense. Marte had a massive year, 36 dingers. You throw in Suarez's 30. But now you lose Walker and Jock Peterson, who combined, I think they were 49 or 50. How do you replace that? I know, you know, you make a nice trade with Nair, who I believe hit 30-31 in Cleveland. Who's going to step up to fill that?
Well, I think Naylor is going to be himself. You know, I think he's going to have plenty of RBI opportunities, and he's not going to have to hit in the freezing cold weather of Cleveland. Trust me, I know.
You know
what that's like for the first couple, you know, months of the season. You know, it's going to be, you know, 80 degrees, and he's going to be feeling really good. So that's probably only going to add, you know, to his, to his offense. And, you know, I'm not really that worried about, you know, Josh's offense at all. You know, Marte, you know, that's a big season to try to repeat. You know, hopefully he can get, you know, somewhere close to that. And he certainly, you know, has that type of talent. You know, so I think a lot of it is if Corbin can kind of be the player that we saw towards the end of the year, you know, the second half of the season anyway. And I think it'll be interesting to see, you know, if Gurriel can keep – remember how he started off last year, how, like, you know, just electric he was, hitting home runs, driving runs in, and then he went into a big lull. And that kind of hurt a little bit. And almost the other way around was Suarez, who really started off bad, you know, traditionally, which is what he does. And then he got about as hot as anybody in baseball. So you kind of want to see that consistent scoring throughout. But, you know, they're very capable of being able to swing the bats really with anybody in the league.
So, Tom, I guess the $64,000 question would be for Pavin Smith. Where do you see him? Is he the DH? Can he handle that day in and day out? Can we see the production that we would see periodically out of this young man? We'll be able to pick up, as Rock alluded to, the Jock Petersons of the world, or if Naylor was to go the DH and Smith goes and plays first base, will we see more, or do we need to see more consistency out of Pavin Smith?
Well, the one thing we know about Pavin is he can hit. He might be a little challenged defensively, wherever you put him, but, he's gotten better, over the last, few years, putting a little bit more emphasis on his defense. But I think, with him just being the DH, at least the left-handed DH, and maybe you can run Grichuk or Mancini out there to be the right-handed DH, depending on, the pitcher and stuff. So Pavin, you got to remember, when we were in the World Series, he was our DH. Mm-hmm. So he's done it in the biggest, the biggest stage, really. And so I just know I've seen him so many times get hot, get hit. It doesn't matter. He handles the bat really well. So I think once you give a guy like that the role, and he knows this is what he's going to do, almost like you did with Peterson last year, he knew he was going to be the DH, especially against right-handed pitchers. If Pavin, it'll be interesting to see how he handles that. I think he'll be pretty good.
And so Jordan Lawler, what's the game plan for him? Here's the top pick a few years ago, often injured, understand it at spring training. He's playing very, very well. Do you give him a chance to battle it out with Suarez at third base, or you just get him ready, get a lot of at-bats, and send him down to keep him tweaked?
Well, I think you got to see, what he's bringing to the table. I think spring training will be a big time for Jordan. He hasn't quite done it yet. And, we know the talent. They put obviously a high draft pick on him. And, they're expecting, to be able to get some benefit out of that. And so you're just kind of waiting for him to mature, the right way. And, both on the defense and also offensively, if he can get to that point, then there could be a competition, right? Suarez is really steady defensively. That guy, I don't know if I've ever seen him make a bad throw. I mean, he is just on the money with it. If he gets to it, he's going to catch it. Maybe he doesn't have the greatest range at third base, but he's steady. So if Jordan can get to a place where he can, really be able to use his athleticism, being a younger kid with some great range and a great arm, if he can get there, with his bat, then, I could see a competition going on for sure.
Tom Candiotti joining Rock and Manucci here on ESPN 620. Candy, when you look at the pitching, one of the, to me, what I thought was somewhat shocking is when they fired the pitching coach, Brent Strom, who, of course, has been a heck of a coach, did so many things with so many different organizations, specifically Houston. They bring in this guy, Brian Kaplan, who was the assistant pitching coach and director of pitching for the Phillies. I believe I'm doing some homework on him. He's got some kind of sports performance deal that he's put together. He's co-founded or whatever that's had a lot of success. Were you somewhat surprised that, they let him go, and then now they've just, or maybe you can answer this, why did they let him go, you think?
Yeah, I don't know. That's all a front office thing there.
Yeah.
And you got to look at salaries and all that kind of stuff. But it, from what I've understand, what I've heard is that they're really
about 2 more minutes.
He's very, motivated for it, and sometimes that's a big thing.
Sure,
is getting excited about your job, not getting complacent in it, and bringing some new ideas, which I think they had. And let's face it, the pitching staff was pretty underwhelming last year.
Yeah.
And so, what do? You can't fire all the pitchers, right?
Yeah.
So, and I know I've talked to Corbin Burns about this guy, and he really likes him. And so does Gallen, and so does Merrill Kelly. So we'll see how it goes throughout the season. And I just know, like, when I look at the staff overall, I see the starters all being like, they probably don't need to be coached that much. They're kind of they're not veteran guys. They're on the verge of being veteran guys, and they have a lot of depth there. But I think where he's going to make his impact is probably going to be some of the bullpen arms.
Okay.
And how the bullpen gets used, because that was a big concern last year of all the innings that they had to pitch, and without the starters, and kind of mentioned earlier, not really having the type of year they had the year before, not maybe getting as deep into games, that bullpen got taxed a little bit. So, we'll see, what his ideas are with that, and how he works with Torrey and in the training staff.
How long do you think it'll take Skipper to name a closer?
Oh boy, I don't know. That's the one thing that everyone's watching.
Yeah,
probably time for one more
training. Who's going to be that guy?
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard. They've had some guys with experience down there. Ginkel's had some experience closing. AJ Puck did a good job. He's got some experience. I mean, they have. Martinez has got that experience. I mean, they have guys. But you don't have that. That knockdown close, that Josh Hader, or guys like that are just gonna. This is my ball. This is my time. Game's over. So. It could be that, Torrey's going to maybe play the matchups a little bit early on just to see, and it'll kind of straighten itself out, I think.
Tom, we got about a minute here. What's the next step for Brandon Pfaadt? Because you got Burns, Gallen, Kelly, then Pfaadt or Rodriguez. But for Pfaadt, what's the next step in his game?
I love Brandon Pfaadt. I think this kid, he takes the ball. He's a strike thrower. He just goes right after. I think where he gets hurt is with that sweeper, which is so effective against righties, but it's not a pitch that really changes planes. It's a lateral pitch. And so if you're keeping that over the middle of the plate, that's where he gets burned, and especially against lefties, as that ball's kind of coming into their power out place. And so if he can learn how to keep that on the back door or put it on the inside, and he really started going to a changeup and a two-seamer last year, which I think really helped him against lefties. And so I'm hoping that he can just put all that together. And if he can, he can be really good. But they have depth. They have depth with injuries. They have, Ryan Nelson. I love that kid. That kid he might have been their best pitcher for about 6 weeks last year. And, when he got hurt, I thought that was a big blow to the team, the way he was throwing. So, he's another capable guy. So, there's a lot of possibilities, no doubt about it. And I think it'll come down to, really who's throwing the best.
So are you ready to go tomorrow? Are you on the call tomorrow here on ESPN 620 of Diamondbacks broadcast?
Yeah, ready to go.
All right. We'll be listening.
Now as we speak, and listen to Corbin's, first 3 punch outs. I thought it was great.
How about that?
So, we're ready to roll.
Oh, we love it. Baseball season is back. Hey, Tom, thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
You got it, man. Talk to you later.
Tom Candiotti. You'll be able to hear him tomorrow right here on ESPN 620, D-backs Rockies from Salt River Fields. So good stuff. You can follow him on Twitter at Tom Candiotti. Today, Tom's brought to you by All City Towing. And they are hiring. Yes, they are hiring dispatchers, call takers, lot attendants, drivers. The list goes on and on. Great benefits, employee paid life insurance, monthly fuel allowance. I could go on and on that as well. But check it out for yourself. If you're ready to take your career to the next level, go to allcitytowing.com. That's All City Towing, where your future is on the move. We're out here at Wright Toyota. We'll continue. We got some football at 50 and some other good stuff.